The 2023 Michigan Panthers have officially made the 2023 playoffs. Man, this was great to see. I really did not expect this team to get the W in their final game, but the Panthers pulled it off and have made the playoffs. Panthers end up finishing as the second team in the North, and they did it because they beat the Stars. Why? Because Mike Nolan became my favorite coach in the USFL as my team's coach because he did one of the ballsiest decisions I've seen in really any league ever. He decided to go with his 2-week-old signee, EJ Perry, after he started Love for the entire season. He benched Love for the last game of the year. And you know what? It paid off. Now, while Perry's stat line, passing-wise, is nothing to write home about, the big thing about him, he never lost the ball. He did fumble it 3 times, but they never were recovered by the Stars, and he never threw an interception. That's what Love's biggest problem was. He was a lot like the Slaughterhouse last year, where he put up decent stats, like counting-wise, but he turned the ball over way too much. So EJ Perry is going to be the starter for the rest of the season, and I'm so glad he is. And running the ball, he showed what he could do. He had one 25-yard rush, and he ended up rushing for 48 yards total and a touchdown, which was incredible. Now, while the rest of the rushing game is still very, 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 very skeptical, as it still seems that the rushing game by Reggie Corbin is really not that good, and Stevie Scott needs to get more carries, the Panthers won the game that mattered. They made the playoffs, and maybe I'll get to see them in the title game, but we'll see. And you know why? Another reason? Because they had 6 Defensive Player of the Week winners. Gidna won 4 and Speaks won 2. This was unbelievable domination on one side of the ball for Player of the Week. Look, Gidna is probably going to end up, he is going to get Defensive Player of the Year probably. He just was so much better than basically every other linebacker. I know some people say, the linebacker in the Maulers or, Speaks, maybe Orr gets it. Nah, it's going to go to Gidna. Again, he was unbelievable. He led the entire league in tackles. He had 3 picks, had a sack, had a couple forced fumbles, had pass deflections. And then Breland Speaks led the league with 9 sacks. Speaks was kind of tapered off in the end. It looked like in the beginning of the year he was going to obliterate Chris Odom. But Odom is still the best example of domination on the defensive line. But Speaks was still unbelievable this year. And the fact that you have the leader in tackles, leader in sacks, and 6 Defensive Player of the Years in your team, or weeks in your team, is insane. The Panthers shocked everybody really by making the playoffs because, like I said in the Stars video, they started off 2-0. And they ended up finishing the next 8 games going 2-6. But the proof was that if you have that good head start, you can have a lot of issues later in the season get resolved. Because at the end of the day, they won the game that mattered the most. Mike Nolan got his guys to understand what the job was and to finish the job. They got the win when it mattered most, and because of that, the Panthers are in the playoffs. And now we get to see a really nice matchup of them against the Maulers. Maulers have beaten them twice this year, but the Panthers beat them last year in the game that mattered. So we'll see.
Congratulations, the Michigan Panthers have officially clinched a berth in the USFL North Division Championship.